All right, I have a thumbs up, which means we are going live Facebook for our meeting tonight. I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is our first meeting of the month of March, and we will first stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by invocation to Alderman Carver and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alderman Carver?
Yes, ma'am. Let's pray. Father, we just come before you tonight, and we thank you for the seasons, Lord, and I thank you for this weather changing and all the blessings you bestow upon us, Lord. Be with the mayor and the board and all of our city leaders, Lord, as we guide the city. Thank you most of all for your Son, Jesus Christ, Lord, and just let us be about your business and your will. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you again, everyone. We do appreciate you being here. We will move forward with our agenda. The first item is approval of the official agenda with consented items. Let me ask if any of the board have changes for either the agenda or the consented items. Alderman Carver.
No, ma'am, I didn't, but I was going to just, at the opportunity, if it would be under the IT or you, just to talk about that mass text, and I'd received a couple of questions about it, just highlight I know it was in the paper Saturday, but the communication device that we'll have and how it'll be utilized.
Okay.
And that's it.
Mr. Clements, you were in the back there. Would you like to come give a quick overview, please, sir? Well, it was also on WTVA last night. They came and highlighted it, and Joel made the news. So if you'd like to give us just a quick overview, please. It's also on our Facebook at some point in time if someone wishes to roll that back up for the work session. So go ahead. Thank you.
Mayor, Board, thank you. So this is a mass communication system that is actually from the same company that hosts our website, so it dovetails into all the functionality that our website currently has, which is the news flash, alerts, and things like that. But this offers citizens the ability to sign up in 3 different ways for various modes of communication. So you can sign up via the web portal, a mobile app, or just by texting a keyword to a number, and you can be signed up for many different channels that we will curate, whether it's special events, road closures, utility work, things like that. It will send out texts, emails, and voice to text very quickly, several tens of thousands within 1 minute, so it's very timely information. The city does a great job of getting that information out on social media, but not everybody's on social media, and even those that are may not see those timely alerts in a manner that they could act on. For instance, if there's a road closure or a detour and you need to know that before your morning commute, you will get this pushed to you and you will know about that very quickly. So it's a very powerful tool. All the departments on the administrative side that typically communicate with citizens very regularly will have the ability to access that administrative panel, and each department can have a designated person or people to communicate whatever it is they want to communicate. And so you can sign up for as many or as few channels of types of information that you want to receive, and it is opt-in, so you will not be enrolled without your consent.
That was one question, if enrollment and layers or channels, I guess.
That's right.
But if you want to get special events from Cotton District Arts Festival, per se, I mean, you can do that.
Sure.
Cool.
And it will be also the fuller PowerPoint that he had is on the work session Facebook page, so we can pull that up. So, okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I yield.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rupp, Alderman Rupp, any changes to the agenda or the consent agenda?
No, ma'am.
All right, Alderman Brooks?
No, ma'am.
Alderman Beatty? Alderman Sisco?
No, ma'am.
Vice Mayor?
No, ma'am, Mayor, thank you.
Alderman Baldwin?
No, ma'am, Mayor, thank you.
All right, thank you. With that, I need a motion to approve the official agenda with the consented items.
So moved.
I have a motion from Alderman Rupp. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Carver. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. It is unanimous. I will now read the consented items. Consideration of the minutes of the February 7th, 2023 regular meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Starkville. Consideration of the minutes of the February 17th, 2023 work session of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Starkville. Consideration of the minutes of the February 21st, 2023 recess meeting of the Mayor and the Board of Aldermen of the City of Starkville. Under Mayor's business, we have A, consideration of a resolution supporting Oktibbeha County in the submission of a community project funding appropriation grant from Congressman Guest for the replacement and upgrade of the water infrastructure of the former Bluefield Water Association. Item B is consideration of a resolution supporting the submission of a community project funding appropriation stag grant from Congressman Guest for the installation of sewer infrastructure in the newly annexed areas currently lacking service and outside the East Oktibbeha Sewer Association footprint. Under Department Business Airport, we have request approval of accepting the lowest quote from Baker's Ready Mix and Construction for widening both the tarmac FBO entrances in the amount of $17,620. Under Airport again, item 2, request approval of renewal of the lease agreement between the City of Starkville, Mississippi and Circle S Aviation, LLC at 320 Airport Road. Number 3, request acceptance of a grant in the amount of $4.5 million from the FAA Airport Terminal Grant Program with a local match of up to 5% pending receipt and review of final documents. Under Community Development and Planning, we have 1, consideration of FP 23-02, request for a final plat approval for lots 330 and 331 Greenbrier subdivision at 800 and 802 Greenbrier Street in an SD-2 zoning district with parcel numbers 106C-00-081.00 and 106C-00-082.00. Item 2 is consideration of the award of the sole proposal, Jackson State University Margaret Walker Center, in the amount of $10,000 for the creation of a Starkville Historic Civil Rights Sites brochure as part of the Mississippi Department of Archives and History Grant Program. Under Finance Administration, item 2 is request approval to renew the mechanical HVAC service agreements with Brislin, Inc. for the Police Department and City Hall HVAC systems for inspections and maintenance of equipment. Under the Fire Department, we have item 1, which is request permission to accept an assistance to firefighters grant in the amount of $155,000 to be used for the purchase of 50 sets of turnout gear with a 15% match. Under HR, Human Resources, number 1 is request authorization to hire Stevenson Tutton as a sanitation worker in the Sanitation and Environmental Services Department. Number 2 is request authorization to hire Scott Grice as a Principal Systems Administrator in the Information Technology Department. Number 3 is request authorization to hire Shauna Cunningham as an Administrative Assistant in the Starkville Police Department. 4 is request authorization to hire Colton Birmingham as a Starkville Police Officer. Number 5 is request authorization to hire John Arnold and James Pumphrey as entry-level firefighters. 6 is request approval of the promotion of Jeremy Weaver to the rank of Sergeant in the Starkville Fire Department. 7, request authorization to hire John Scott as the Assistant Manager in the Starkville Utilities. 8, request authorization to hire Noah Jones as Apprentice Lineman 1 in Starkville Utilities. 9 is request authorization to hire Charles Jordan as Water Distribution Supervisor in Starkville Utilities. Under IT, item 1 is request approval of purchase of a mass texting and communication system from Civic Plus, the existing web platform, for a cost of $8,024.74 for the first year and $11,234.64 each year going forward. Under Parks, number 1 is consideration of approval of change order number 10 with T&M Steel, Phase 3 contract, adding $25,000 for the pedestal design and construction of the Cool Papa Belt sculpture for Cornerstone Sports Complex. Under Police Department, item 1A is request approval to enter into a memorandum of understanding regarding automated license plate readers, ALPR, between the Mississippi Transportation Commission, acting through the Mississippi Department of Transportation, and the City of Starkville. 1B is request authorization to declare a 2010 Hyundai Genesis VIN number 5089 as surplus and advertised for sale to the highest bidder on govdeals.com. 1C is request approval for Corporal Chris Jackson to attend the IACIS, International Association of Computer Investigative Specialists, Basic Computer Forensics Examiner course to be held in Orlando, Florida, April 24th through May 5th, 2023, at a cost not to exceed $6,500 to be reimbursed by the Attorney General's Office when the course is successfully completed. Under Code Enforcement, item A is consideration of calling for a public hearing under Mississippi Code annotated 21-19-11 to determine whether the structures located at 617 West Main Street, Starkville, Mississippi, 39759 with parcel number 1180-00-274.00 is a menace to the public health, safety, and welfare of the community. Item B is consideration of calling for a public hearing under Mississippi Code Section 21-1911 to determine whether the property located at 109 Roosevelt Taylor Sr. Street, Starkville, Mississippi 39759, previously known as 109 Beatty Street, Starkville, Mississippi 39759, with parcel number 1180-00-250.00 is a menace to the public health, safety, and welfare of the community. Under the Utilities Department, item 1 is request authorization to approve sole source quote from Annixter, the only provider of Honeywell next-gen gatekeepers in the southern region for gatekeepers in the amount of $118,090. Number 2 is request authorization to approve sole source quote from Annixter, the only provider of Honeywell next-gen gatekeepers in the southern region in the amount of $28,604.16 for electric meters. Request authorization to approve contract with Narrative 12 for communication support in the amount of $4,500 monthly. Number 4 is request authorization to approve a request for proposals for professional services for substation maintenance and testing services. Number 5 is request authorization to approve the lowest quote from Bill Russell Ford on a Ford F-150 in the amount of $49,369. Number 6, request authorization to approve the lowest quote from Wren Body Works for the bed assembly and installation for the service truck for wastewater in the amount of $32,760.33. Number 7 is consideration of accepting the low base bid of $2,461,000 for the Main Street Water and Sewer Improvements Project from DNA Underground. 8, request authorization to approve the lowest quote purchase of surge arresters from Annixter in the amount of $16,550.73. Number 9 is request authorization to approve the lowest quote on elevator repair at Starkville Utilities from Cone Care Elevator in the amount of $14,685. And last but not least, number 10, request authorization to approve the quote from S&N Aeroflow for emergency rental of 2 temporary aerators for the wastewater treatment plant in the amount of $10,107 as per Mississippi Code Section 31-7-13 sub K, and that an emergency exists such that the delay incident to giving opportunity for competitive bidding would be detrimental to the interest of the governing authority. And that concludes the consent agenda items.
Thank you, Mayor.
Happy to do that. Next item on our agenda is announcements and comments, and I'm going to make one comment about the aluminum plant today. They made their groundbreaking. It was really cool. They did a little explosion. They did an underground explosion, so it's kind of like the dynamite, but haven't seen that before. But it was well attended. It was extraordinary, and that's going to be a huge boon to our region, but in particular to Starkville, because I believe all those people who are going to go to work out there at some lovely wages of $93,000, I think is the average wage out there, is going to come on and live in Starkville and shop in Starkville and be in Starkville. So I am also hopeful that there will be tier 2 and 3 businesses that come in as a part of that, and that is quite extraordinary. It's the largest thing that's happened in the state of Mississippi from an economic development standpoint at $2.5 billion with the B. So it was quite a day. Now the fun part I get to have is to introduce 5 new firefighters for us, and they're all lined up back there in the maroon. So the chief cannot be with us today, but we do have a wonderful substitute. So if you all want to come on up, we can do an introduction. And I'm just going to start with what NAB has given me, which is number 1. I may ad-lib and ask questions. You never know. So, all right. So first is Dalton Avent. That would be you. Okay, cool. You've lived your whole life around the Starkville area. Is that right? Where in the Starkville area?
Around here. I got family in Newport.
Okay. All right. See, I told you I was going to ask questions. Okay. He served in the Air National Guard and is excited to start his career as a firefighter with the Starkville Fire Department. And you enjoy all outdoor activities. Is that all correct?
I do.
Okay, cool. All right. Next on the line, Jaron Gill. Is that right, Jaron?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Jaron attended Vardaman High School and graduated with the class of 2019. At 17 years old, he joined the Mississippi Army National Guard as a 12 Bravo combat engineer and is currently still serving. He previously worked at Grenada Fire Department for 2 years and saw the light and came our way, right? Graduated from Mississippi State Fire Academy as a lieutenant. Jaron left the fire service and started working for the Walmart Distribution Center. He worked there 7 months and realized how much he missed the fire service, and we're delighted to have you with us. Next is Caleb Loftus. Okay, is that you? Oh, okay, first up. Caleb is from Caledonia, Mississippi. He's a member of the U.S. Army National Guard. We've got some Guard folks here. This is great, where he serves as a combat medic. Caleb spends all his free time hunting ducks or turkeys and enjoys being outdoors. You can get with Alderman Carver, because I believe he's also a hunter. Ducks and turkeys?
Yeah.
Okay. Happy to have you. Tyler Tan. Okay, next up. Tyler is originally from Tupelo, Mississippi, but is now a resident of Starkville since last August. Becoming a firefighter has always been a lifelong dream of Tyler, and he's looking forward to serving the people of Starkville. So we are happy to have you. And last but certainly not least, Duncan Williams. Duncan is also known as Bubba. Grew up playing baseball and running cross country in Birmingham, Alabama. Bubba is excited to serve the Starkville community and is looking forward to a career with Starkville Fire Department. So please join me in welcoming all of these wonderful firefighters who've come to Starkville. Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate it. You're welcome to stay or go home and do something fun. This is fun. Fun for us. I'm not sure it's fun for them. All right, and that is all under mayor's comments. Do we have any Board of Aldermen comments? Alderman Carver.
I'd be remiss to say, I mentioned our son, y'all know Hayes, and y'all helped me raise Hayes. They did win the state title in the JV ball, so Starkville Christian School won their first state title, and it was just junior varsity basketball, but he was excited. So
That's great. Congratulations. Alderman Rupp.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Alderman Brooks.
I don't want to monopolize, but I do have a couple of things.
That's quite all right. Go for it.
Yeah. I hope everybody's had an opportunity to drive Louisville Street, and I think our latest traffic numbers indicate there's like 13 to 14,000 cars a day that run that road. But we have new detection type traffic signal lights, or I'm from Matheson, red lights. They're on at Yellow Jacket, Lynn Lane, and Academy Road, and I've actually, that's my main way into town. So I've watched them working. They seem like they're working really good. I would say that, if you pull up there the way it used to be and you want to check an email or a text message, somebody's going to be blowing the horn because they're moving fast, they're working off the detection. And I think that I would personally like to thank Edward Kemp and Cody Burnett and the At-Run Jet Engineering Group, and then the contractors we had, because they really got on that and they were able to get all that together. They repurposed some old mast arms that we had. So anyway, we hope that helps folks going north and south on Louisville Street. And if anyone, I have not been there at a high traffic school time yet. So if there's anything that needs to be adjusted, I'm sure just let some of us know and they'll take a look at it. But at this point, they seem to be working extremely well. And traffic's one of my hot button issues, so I'm excited about that. Number two is the mayor just mentioned the federal grant for the airport terminal, $4.5 million, and at some point maybe we can go through this in a work session or something and kind of go through what all is going on here. But that is that's almost like our ARPA money. I mean, that's a game changer for Starkville. The board, if you will remember, we contracted with Mike Hainsey, the retired director at Golden Triangle. That's kind of his focus now, is trying to help secure these grants. And in just a matter of a few weeks, with the help of Airport Director Rodney Lincoln and Kerry Harden, they were able to secure a grant, and then it increased. And then the final number ended up being this $4.5 million to do everything that we want to do out there. It's going to take more money, but we're looking at it in 3 different phases. And we think this first phase, or this first grant, will allow us to do all the planning for the terminal, the parking lot, and the ramp space, or the air side as it's called, the pilots call it, and get everything planned so that we can move right along. And this stuff is really going to happen fast. And those that don't fly general aviation, wouldn't be aware of it. But we're way behind the curve on this. If you just go to some of the other SEC schools, for instance, you'll see that the terminals and the FBOs they have are far and above better than what we have. And this will give us an opportunity to get in there and pitch with the rest of them. That's it, Mayor.
Thank you. And I've made a note to do a work session on the airport and the master plan, so we will do that. Mr. Lincoln, start planning for that. I'll give you a couple of work sessions to get it together. Okay. Alderman Bailey.
Oh, thank you.
Alderman Sister. Vice Mayor.
Go ahead, thank you.
Alderman Vaughn.
No, ma'am, thank you.
Okay. All right. So moving into our next item, it's citizens' comments. Do we have anyone who wishes to speak to the board? You have 3 minutes to do so. Ms. Harden will time you, and you may come up and tell us what's on your mind and if there's any issues that you'd like to bring to the board's attention. Mr. Turner, are you not feeling well tonight?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Well, I don't see you getting up, so now I have to worry about you. Okay. Well, if no one, citizens' comments, open for citizens' comments. If there are none, all right, I will close it as citizens' comments. I'm going to make a note that Mr. Turner did not, he was here, but he did not speak, because that would be the first time that I can ever remember that. So, All right, we have a public appearance. This is former Chief Frank Nichols is here representing the Stark Vegas Juneteenth Committee for Unity. So, former Chief Nichols, you have a presentation that you wish to make?
Yes, ma'am. I just want to say a few things, if that's all right.
You have 10 minutes.
And I agree, that's the first time I've ever seen Mr. Alvin not speak. Greetings, Mayor, Honorable Vice Mayor, and members that make up this esteemed council. I'm here today, but first and foremost, I'm here on behalf of the Stark Vegas Juneteenth Committee for Unity, and I'm represented here with other members, so can you please stand up? Other members of the Juneteenth Committee. Okay, my wife, Tammy Nichols, and Mr. Larry Johnson, who's a member of the committee, who's also a business owner here in Starkville. Thank you. I pray that all of you received the letter that I sent and had a chance to read it. I stand before you today to briefly speak about the importance of Black history. We know that February is Black History Month. It started with Mr. Carter G. Woodson in 1926. Black History Month is a time where we recognize the key roles, contributions, and sacrifices of African Americans throughout U.S. history. It honors all Black people from all periods of U.S. history, from the enslaved people first brought over from Africa in the early 17th century to the ones living today in the United States. In 1976, President Gerald Ford designated February as Black History Month, urging all Americans to seize the opportunity to honor the too often neglected accomplishments of Black Americans in every area endeavors throughout our history. Every U.S. president since then has issued a proclamation in honor of Black History Month. Today, countries all over the world also dedicate a month to celebrating Black History Month. As I stated in my letter, I'm disappointed that the city did not publicly acknowledge Black History Month. I'm not here to criticize. My purpose here is to hopefully we can work together to not let this happen again. Okay. Attached in my letter, there were names of different people in our community. A lot of them has worked here with the city of Starkville. So if we need somebody to honor, I gave you guys 2 pages of them. So African Americans, of course, we know make up 35% of the population here in Starkville. On Sunday, this past Sunday, my oldest son and I, we had a chance to go to Selma, Alabama in the commemoration of the march across the Edmonds-Pettus Bridge, commemorating Bloody Sunday of 1965. Also had a privilege and honor to hear the President of the United States speak, okay? I had to see him, got a chance to see him and to hear him speak. And a lot of the stuff that he was speaking about is included in my letter that I had already written. And, you know, that lets me know that this is a ongoing issue, a serious issue, you know, if you would, to some people. So that's the reason I'm here today. All right, I'm gonna give you 4 reasons why we should celebrate Black history. It celebrates diversity. Black History Month does not just promote diversity, it celebrates diversity. Promoting diversity brings awareness to the idea that we are all diverse and we all have something to contribute. But when we celebrate diversity, we are conveying the idea that diversity is beautiful. A celebration goes beyond recognizing the achievements of African Americans. It publicly honors these men and women. It tells their wonderful stories in a way that makes us realize how they have impacted our lives. How our lives would not be the same if these people did not take risks to accomplish amazing things. Number 2, it unites us. Celebrating diversity and recognizing it is beautiful bringing us together. It helps us to learn about people from different cultures and backgrounds and to understand how we all are connected. And finding this connection unites us. Doesn't it feel good when you have friends, family, co-workers, neighbors get together, celebrate, your achievements? Don't it feel good when we have people from all areas of our life come together to celebrate a graduation, birthday, or promotions? This celebration brings joy when we see people from different walks of life putting aside their differences to celebrate. Number 3, it takes us beyond the history books. Throughout our schooling, we've taken some form of history, whether it's world history, U.S. history, European history. Typically, in our history textbooks, we focus on the major players. Oftentimes, they leave out the lesser-known figures that have accomplished incredible things. Rather than let the history books tell us who is important, we can celebrate special months like Black History Month to give us an opportunity to learn about other historic figures that have impacted our lives and world. Going beyond the textbook paints a different picture of our history in the United States. 4, it helps us to understand the importance of our story. Black History Month is about sharing and celebrating the stories of countless men and women who made a difference in our world. Some achievements are noted more than others, but all of their stories reveal how they changed the world and how we can too. These are just 4 reasons why we should recognize and celebrate Black history. In many states, like Florida, they attempted to make it a law violation to even discuss Black history in a classroom. Tell me what that's about. I don't know. Tell me what that's about. So hopefully we'll never get to that in Starkville. As we get closer to November, you'll see African American churches, events full of visitors as we get closer to November, because we got an election coming up. We got a sheriff race coming up, got other county races coming up. They're going to be looking for Black votes. And that disturbs me when you can come to Black churches, ask Black people to vote for you, but you can't acknowledge them during Black History Month. There's something wrong with that picture. And I'm telling anybody, it doesn't matter what color you are, don't vote for anybody that can't respect you enough to acknowledge who you are. I'll say it again. If you are a registered voter and you got elected politicians that want you to vote for them, do not vote for them if they can't respect you enough to say, to recognize Black History Month. And it shouldn't be a Black History Month, because Black history is what? American history. If it happened in the United States, it's American history. But nevertheless, Matthew 7:12 states, "So in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you." I'll read a little bit of the passage from the Declaration of Independence. It says, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their power from the consent of the governed." That's who we are. "That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it's rights of the people to alter or abolish it and institute new government." I'll close in a non-traditional manner by asking a question, okay? We have the Holy Bible telling us how to conduct ourselves. I read you that, Matthew 7:12. We have the Declaration of Independence telling you what every American, how they should be treated. And we have, since 1976, every U.S. president to acknowledge Black History Month with a proclamation. My question is, why didn't the city of Starkville do anything? And I close. Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you. Please don't do that. Thank you. All right. Our next item is going to be public hearings. Our first item is going to be a public hearing in consideration of VA, which would be variance 23-01, a request for variance from setback requirements of an accessory structure at 109 Oak Ridge in an SD-2 zoning district. Mr. Howland.
This is VA 2301. This is a request by Dan Punday for the placement of an accessory structure in a location other than the backyard. at 109 Oak Ridge in an SD2 zoning district. The applicant is requesting relief from section 13.9.1.b.c of the UDC, which requires that an accessory structure not occupy any part of a front or side yard. The applicant has requested, or the applicant has already started construction of the structure without a permit. After the applicant hired a contractor, the contractor started the permit process, and at that time, the planning department became aware of the issue. And these pictures are just showing pictures of the current state of construction for the structure. This is a site plan sort of showing where it's located. The gray area is the driveway. The top is the side of the existing house. This is the property line to the north. Here's a proposed structure, so it's definitely in the side yard. Once a review of the structure's location, it was determined that a variance be required before issuing a building permit. The proposed accessory structure is definitely located within the existing side yard. The request was noticed in accordance with the UDC. 14 property owners of record within 160 feet were notified directly by mail. A legal ad was published in Starkville Daily News on February 3rd, 2023, and a sign posted on the property. As of this date, the planning office has received 1 phone call requesting further information and 4 phone calls against. And those 4 phone calls, I believe, came today. Section 3.7.1 of the UDC lists the 6 criteria for variance review and approval. And on February 22nd, 2023, the Board of Adjustments and Appeals unanimously voted to recommend approval of the request with 2 of the following recommended conditions. Both of these conditions were an attempt to sort of mitigate any nuisances coming from the structure. The first one is no windows shall be located in the north side of the structure, which is facing the neighbor's house, and insulation and soundproofing shall be added to the northern wall of the structure to help reduce any possible noise issues.
Okay, and this was a unanimous vote?
Unanimous with the conditions, yes.
Okay. Before I open it as a public hearing, any questions from the board from Mr. Haviland? Alderman Brooks?
The 4 that were against, was there any common theme in what they were saying, or?
No, we just kind of, it's just kind of a for and against. You know, we don't really take what particular thing they're against. It's either you're for or against or just information.
We may hear from them in the public part of it. So, any other, is that it, Alderman Brooks? Okay. Any other comments, any other questions? All right.
I was going to ask.
Alderman Carver.
To get the timeline correct, they started construction and then they came back and applied for a variance after something was triggered, or?
Yeah, they started the construction, and I believe, from what I understand, which the homeowners here, as I believe they got to a point where he needed professional help to come in, and when the contractor arrived, he realized that this was the type of construction that would need a permit. And so the same day that it was noticed by city staff of what was going on, the contractor came in without being prompted. So
The setback's 10 feet for accessory?
it's just supposed to be behind the rear of the house, and then within 5 feet from the property line and 10 feet from any structure.
Well, I went by there, when you say 5 feet from the rear of the house, you're talking about off the back.
So
end
like,
of that-
yeah, from the back edge of the house, it's supposed to be from there back in the backyard.
How many feet are y'all talking about? I mean, how many feet is that from the existing house plus 5?
He's got a dimension on there, it's sort of hard to read. If he's here, I think he can answer the exact dimensional questions, but if it's more than 1 or 2 feet, then we had to go down this route.
So if the applicant was denied the variance, they would have to,
Remove the structure.
can you pick this structure up and move it with some type of machinery, or is it something that's got to be?
I don't believe so, I think it's on a slab.
I yield.
Okay, all right. Anything else? All right, I will open it as a public hearing. Well, let me ask the applicant, is the applicant here? Okay, would you like to come?
I'd love to.
Okay.
So just to provide some clarity,
If you, and you would state your name.
I'm sorry, my
please.
name is Dan Punday. I'm the homeowner at 109 Oak Ridge.
Yes, sir.
The variance, so the proposed structure will extend 4.5 feet from the back of the original house. Now, if you look at the plan, after the house was originally built, they added a pool house, which sits behind the house, but from the original footprint of the house, it's 4.5 feet forward from the back of the house. And I brought a picture that helps show why. May I distribute this?
Yes, that'll be fine. Chief, you want to help him? Sorry, go ahead and have a seat. Great job. That's all right, go ahead. It's okay. He was going to help you, but that's all right. That's okay. All right. Thank you, sir. All right. We're getting straight. We're good.
That's good work.
So I think this is Google Maps. I printed it off, as you can see, this morning, and this is just our house, which is the bottom right. It has a pool, so it's easy to identify which house is 109 Oak Ridge. It's the bottom right. And this is just 4 houses around us. I could have printed a whole street worth, but once you get more houses, it becomes hard to understand. What you should see on this picture is that our house is considerably further back from the street than all of the ones around them. The setback in Timber Cove in this neighborhood is 25 feet. Our house is set back 65 feet. And the reason for that is pretty straightforward. If you know the property, there's a bit of a crown of a hill at the top of where our house is built. And because of that, the builder obviously set it at that top. If they had brought it down closer to the street, which would have put it in line with every other house on the street, we would have probably gotten water running into the back of the house. So the choice to put it at the top of the hill made a lot of sense, but what that means is we have a much, much smaller backyard than every other house in the area. I should note that the garage itself, as it will be constructed, is 103 feet from the street, an extraordinarily far back distance, and had our house been built like any other house that's around it, any one of the 3 that you see on that picture, we wouldn't need a variance because it would have been closer to the street and it would have fallen easily behind. So I'm asking for the variance to address the unique and special circumstances of this lot, which caused the house to be built so far back and consequently made it impossible to locate a garage behind it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Any questions of, yes?
Why did you build it without a permit?
So I mean, I will take responsibility for this. Before I started construction, I talked to my contractor, Benny Oglesby, and I asked him. I said, Benny, do we need a permit for this? And he said, no, as long as it's under 400 square feet, you don't need a permit. Now, you all know that's not the case. I think there's 2 different kinds of permits you need, one at 400 and then one below that. He obviously was confused about that. I should have done my own research. I should have checked in on my own. He said we didn't need a permit, and I just went with that. And so as soon as we discovered that there was a problem with this, that we needed a variance, we, of course, immediately stopped. This is only 2 days construction, and so we just stopped everything and went and got the permit. So it obviously was no attempt to go around the law. I didn't know, and I assume Benny just didn't understand.
Okay. Any other questions of Alderman Brooks?
The picture that I'm seeing is, I actually did ride by there, but
Okay.
it's been a few days back. Is that where we are now, or is further along than that?
No. Obviously, we haven't done anything since
Okay,
we.
so that's where we are.
Yeah, it's 2 days of construction.
Okay. And I'm looking, it's where this white car is sitting on the drive, correct?
Yeah, I mean, the garage is actually just a little further back from that, but it's in that ballpark. If we had pulled the car up maybe 4 more feet, that's be about where the garage would fall.
Okay. Does this picture show the pool house you were talking about?
Yeah, if you look, you can see the ridge line that goes across the house, and then the small semi-flat roof that's immediately behind the house, closest to the pool. That's the pool house.
So the pool house is actually attached?
It is attached, yes.
Yeah, that's what I want to make sure.
Yeah, and the only reason I bring it up is because it was obviously added after the initial construction of the house.
Anything else, Alderman Brooks?
That's it, ma'am.
Okay. Alderman Rupp, you asked again?
You plan to comply with the conditions?
Of course.
The insulation and no?
Yes.
All right. Anyone else with this applicant before I open it as a public hearing? All right, seeing none, if you would, please. Thank you. All right, I'm going to open it as a public hearing. I understand there's some folks here who might wish to speak, so either for or against, we will give you 15 minutes. So if whoever wishes to speak, now is the opportunity, either speaking for or against. If you would, please, you'll need to state your name and let us know what your thoughts are, either for or against.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Board of Aldermen. I'm Kyle Jordan. I live at the brick home in the picture there at 111 Oak Ridge. I come to you tonight asking to vote no on this variance. This variance is absurd to have with our side yard. The side yard is, as many of you know, is meant to create a buffering zone for the houses and creating a little bit of privacy. One piece to note, you can see at the bottom picture of this, that's 19 feet from my bedroom. And it's kind of hard to swallow that that's about as close to my house as it is his. And I'm asking the city to protect my property value, that we have our home here in Starkville. This is not something that also goes in with the streetscape of the landscape of the street. There's no home on this street that has a side building that's not connected to the house. And I think it's disingenuous for the city to allow that. These other homes have been here for 20 and 30 years. And I'm excited the Pundays have a pool, but, you know, we can't have everything. We live in the city. We don't live in a big acreage estate, you know. So I'm asking the city to not support this tonight. And I'm not saying the Pundays, we wouldn't ever entertain that they would build a structure, but I think it should at least connect to the house in some form or fashion and be closer to their property. If you look at it, it's 5 feet from my property line and 19 feet from my bedroom. And I hope the city would realize that when they're voting on this. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak either for or against?
Good evening, Jack Barco. I'm at 113 Oak Ridge. And just looking at the published criteria for allowing a variance, I don't see any special conditions that this request would meet. The literal interpretation be, if any hardship was created, it was not getting a building permit up front, because then he would have been told it needs to be just behind the house, and there is room for that. So I'm just here tonight. I am against it, and just asking that Mayor, Board Alderman, you're dutifully elected, and that you interpret the ordinances as such and uphold. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hicklin. Anyone else? Anyone else?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name's Robert Evans.
Mr. Evans?
Yes, ma'am. We got some property that is over on Jackson Street, 725 Jackson Street. And,
Mr. Evans, is this about this particular issue?
ma'am.
Or are you going to talk
Oh, you talking
about
about
this?
that?
Yes, sir.
Oh, no.
Okay, no, I'm sorry. That's going to be, we're
thought you-
taking up strictly this particular location and this
Okay.
issue. I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you. All right. Anyone else? Either for or against? All right. Seeing none, I will close it as a public hearing. Any further discussion from the board? Questions or discussion from the board? I'll entertain a motion.
Well,
Okay.
actually, I do have a question, either of someone in the building department, Mr. Haviland.
Mr. Haviland?
So our options are approve the variance, or if it's denied,
The structure would have to be removed and built in conformance with the ordinance.
and that would mean moving it back 5 feet.
Just behind the rear of the building. Whatever the rear wall of the building is, that's the start of the backyard.
Okay, is there space to put it back there?
There's space back there. I mean, I don't know the exact dimensions of what he's trying to do would fit back
Okay.
there, but, I mean, there's space back there.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And it's 2 days' work is what I thought I heard him say, that we're into this. Okay.
Yes. Anyone else? Questions? Discussion, I need a motion. Ladies and gentlemen, you've held our public hearing. So, Alderman Carver.
I'll move approval to deny request for variance from setback requirements of an accessory structure at 109 Oak Ridge in the SD2 zoning district.
Okay, I have a motion to deny from Alderman Carver. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Alderman Sistrunk. All right, this is a motion to deny, so a vote for would be denial of the request for the variance. If you would, please, let's see, let's do answer yea or nay as the city clerk calls your name.
Mayor, can I get Mr. Hammond back up and look at this thing one more time?
For discussion purposes? All right, we'll continue the discussion then. Mr. Haviland?
Mr. Hammond, can you show the ones that's got the drawings? Right there. Orient me to work this again.
Orient.
The proposed structure is
Is this one right here.
Okay.
The street is off to the left, off the sheet. This is submitted by the applicant, so I just put some color on it to make it a little easier to see. And then that's the house to the top of the sheet.
That's just a piece of the house, right? That's
Piece of
not
the
the whole
house, correct. And then Mr. Jordan is, property line is right there.
if you had moved the structure back behind the house, wouldn't you?
Yeah, if the structure is behind the rear of the house and more than 10 feet away from it, then, and 5 feet from any property line, then it would be allowed.
And there's room to do that. You didn't do it.
There's room to put a structure. I mean, not that familiar with the property as far as where it would fit.
Not this size.
Yep.
Garage.
Yep.
Would another,
Alderman Beatty, you have the floor.
How long was it before there was opposition? I mean, how far into construction was this thing before it started?
I believe it was 2 days from hearing the applicant.
2 days from construction, the time there was opposition?
2 days of construction, then we became aware of it as staff, and that's the same day that the contractor came in, before we had even contacted them.
And how far along, what all had been done in the first 2 days?
All I'm aware of is what's in the picture. Looks like the studs have been put up, the
Framed
sheathing
out,
on the
I mean, what-
outside. No roof has been started or anything.
So they using existing slab, or they?
From what I understand, talking to the building official, there's some sort of foundation underneath there, so it's not placed on the actual previous driveway. I think there is some sort of footing.
Mr. McMullen, would you like to come up here and verify that so that we are operating from the correct information? If you would, to the microphone, so we'll have it on record, please.
He did pour a new slab.
On top of the existing slab, or is this just back?
It's back behind it. It's connecting to it. Because he redid the driveway and his sidewalk, which he doesn't have to have a permit for that, but he redid that in this process.
Anything further, Alderman Beatty?
No, Mayor, thank you.
All right. Alderman Rupp, and then Alderman Sistrunk, and then Alderman Brooks. Alderman Rupp.
If he had come to pull a permit, how specific would he have had to have been as to where he was putting his building? Very specific? Or could he have come back and been?
We're pretty strict on having some sort of plan to scale that then we then verify through an aerial to make sure that what's drawn, because we realize not everybody's a drafter, you know, what's drawn will actually fit in that area. So we would have done an investigation into it before we would have signed off on it.
If he had brought this location to you and asked for the permit, what would you have said?
I would say you would have to get a variance at that location.
Anything further?
No, ma'am.
Alderman Sistrunk.
is another remedy if this were attached to the house? Does that?
If it were attached to the house, then it would be violating the setbacks of the primary structure.
Okay.
It's too far toward the adjacent property to be
All right.
attached without violating that setback.
All right, thank you.
Alderman Brooks.
So before, it appears to me that from looking at this aerial, that part of the structure is on the existing driveway, and then there must be some additional slab behind.
Yes, sir.
Right, okay, that's where
Yes, sir.
you don't, I mean, is it 10 feet or you're not really sure? That's
I didn't take it.
That's all right, it doesn't matter. But my thought is that if we were to require him to move it back, if he moved it straight back, then he wouldn't necessarily lose what he's built. as far as having to take it down, but the slab that he poured would just be an extension. He would have to have additional slab to get back to the new building, because it would go straight back, correct? Because it's all the same grade.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. All right. Thank you. That's it.
All right, anything else? All right, seeing none, I have a motion. I'm sorry, Vice Mayor, yes, you may.
No problem. Mr. Havens, I understand you correctly that the property owner in question was required to come to our Community Development Department per ordinance to get a building permit.
Yes, sir. Part of the building permitting process is any structure, they run it to the planning department where we verify setbacks and use, and then we approve that portion of the permit, then they start doing their portion.
And with regard to this case in question, this particular homeowner failed to comply with our city approved ordinance.
Correct, initially, yes.
And if the homeowner in question had complied with the city approved ordinance, then he would have known the requirements of our ordinance prior to his doing any amount of construction on that property.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And am I also correct that this homeowner in question is in this particular position at this time before this mayor and board because the owner in question failed to comply with the city's approved ordinance?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Your Mayor.
All right, thank you. Okay, absent any further discussion, we have a motion and a second. We'll start with a vote. If you would please answer yea or nay as the city clerk calls your name. And this is a motion to deny.
Alderman Carver.
Yay.
Alderman Alderman Rupp.
Yay.
Alderman Brooks.
Yay.
Alderman Beatty.
Yay.
Alderman Sistrunk.
Yay.
Vice Mayor Perkins.
Yay.
Alderman Vaughn.
Yay.
All right, that motion passes unanimously. The variance is denied. All right, thank you. Next item is a public hearing for consideration of a 21-1911. Officer Perez will make the presentation.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Board of Aldermen.
I'm going to cut the lights so that we can see the picture. Okay?
This is going to be for 21-1911 for the property at 725 South Jackson Street, Mississippi, 39759, parcel number 102H-00-151.00. This property is owned by William Henry Edmonds at 101 Jackson Street. I visited the property on my first inspection on January 6th. This is the condition in which it was on that date. As you can see at the bottom edge, the wall of the foundation is falling outward. The pieces of the roof are falling off. The window there is actually broken. The back of the house in this little nook, the siding is falling apart and very much rotted. This is the north side of the house. This is a letter for first notice of violation sent to the property owner on January 10th. This is the second inspection on January 27th. The property was still in the same state. This is going to be the public notice posted at City Hall. Public notice posted on the property. as you can see on these photos, there has been some repairs to the property for replacing some of that wood at the top of the house. These are going to be the notices that were sent out to the property owner for notice of the public hearing on February 13th. February 14th, I received back the signed paper for the certified letter. This is not the correct one.
Is that the next one?
I'm sorry, no, this is not the correct slideshow. I think I made a mistake and sent the wrong one. Do you mind if I correct my mistake?
Certainly, if you can do so quickly.
I do apologize. I'm not sure what happened because this was complete.
Are our packets accurate?
Yes, the packets are accurate, and I do have a printout of my slideshow.
Joel, can you pull up the packet, the e-packet, to reflect the proper item, agenda item?
I'm not sure how I got it mixed up with the slideshow.
It's the second public hearing?
The
Scroll down to the pictures.
Can I give you my printed version of the PowerPoint?
Well, let's go with what the screen has.
Okay,
You should
that'll
be able
work.
to Pull up what you're.
I apologize. I'm not sure how that happened.
If you'll scroll, Joel, Mr. Clements, if you keep scrolling.
Okay. This is the front of the property.
We need to get to what, the most recent photograph?
We're at the notice, public hearing notice that was mailed, certified mail. I do apologize. I'm not sure how that happened.
So we had seen the photographs that reflected some improvements
That was,
being made?
yes.
Okay.
That's February 11th. Keep scrolling down. That's public notice posted at the City Hall.
Okay.
Keep going. Keep scrolling. This is going to be posted on the property. Keep going. And this is going to be that inspection when I posted those on February 11th.
Okay.
Keep scrolling down. This is showing that there have been some repairs made to the house. Keep going. Just keep scrolling. These are
fairly fresh pictures.
Yes, this picture here shows that the foundation is still in disrepair. Keep scrolling down, please. This is where they had taken some of the boards off to replace them from the top. And they have since cleaned that up. Keep scrolling down, please. This is going to be the south side of the house where they did repair those boards at the top. Keep scrolling. This is at the back where it's showing some cracks in that foundation as well. There have been some repairs there as well at the top, as well on the back. They keep scrolling down a little bit. Right there, it still shows that is rotted out right there on those panels. If you could scroll down some more, please. The boards right there at the bottom are also rotted out. Keep going. Scroll down some more, please. Okay, this is going to be the north side of the house. As you can see, that front part from the north has been repaired as well. Scroll down some more, please. The foundation on this side seems to be intact. Keep scrolling down, please. This is the notice that was mailed to the property owner, certified mail. This one was mailed to the property itself. The next page, please. That's going to be the back of that letter that was sent. Keep scrolling down, please. Keep going. This is going to be the one sent to the property owner at 801 South Jackson Street. Keep scrolling down, please. That is front and back of that letter. Okay, this is going to be the card that was received back saying that they did receive that letter. Keep scrolling. This is going to be another inspection of the property showing those same repairs that they had already done.
Is this the most recent one?
Scroll back up a little bit where that call card was, just before the photos. This was on February 22nd.
Okay.
Scroll down, please. Keep going. That's going to be the debris that they had taken off to replace with new wood. Scroll down, please. That has still not been repaired on the back side, although they have been working on it on a daily basis. As I've driven by, I've seen them out there working. Keep scrolling down a little bit more, please.
Okay. That complete that particular item. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And I apologize. I apologize.
It's okay. Once was plenty. You're good. Any questions of the board at this time before I open it as a public hearing? Any questions?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. Alderman Beatty.
Also, Fred.
Yes, sir.
How long has this been in process? I mean, when did the improvements start being, or the work on the house start being done?
Shortly after my first notice of violation, I was contacted by a family member of Mr. Edmonds. She stated that they were getting the repairs done. I did inform her that the foundation would also need to be repaired, and she would need to get a permit to do those repairs.
How far from that first notice into to where we are now? How far are we?
For the repairs?
Well, no, since the first notification to do this.
Oh, the first notification was given on January 6th, and my final inspection was on February 22nd.
Anything further, Alderman Beatty? Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else? All right, seeing none at this point, I'll open it as a public hearing. This is item related to 725 South Jackson Street. So now would be the opportunity, sir, you wanted to speak to it before. And this would be either for or against this consideration under the code 21-1911. And if you would, please identify yourself.
My name's Robert Evans.
Mr. Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you were joined by?
I'm Patricia Washington, his sister.
Okay.
Okay. This is my mother's property, Barbara Evans. It's in Henry Edmonds' name, but it's family property now.
Okay. What would you like to tell us?
Yes, I mean, we were putting some more work on the house, and on the 6th, you know, I think it just started, you know, like the code people started coming around, you know, and so I was trying to see what was going on with it, and so we talked about, me and the code lady, we talked about, you know, the different stuff that needed to be done, Yes, she did. And we was first doing the wood and stuff on the porch. Then later on, she still tell us it was going to be something like the bricks, need to be maybe put back in place or something. So we did get somebody to do that, but he couldn't make it today. So we wanted to talk to you about it, but but right now we in the part of getting the house, back in some kind of shape, but. I mean, every week it's bringing in another thing in there, bringing something in there, telling us to do this, do that. But I can understand, yeah, it do need some structural work, and I'm not saying that, but it's not where it could be not savage though. I mean, it wouldn't have to be savage. But,
is someone living in the home?
Not right now.
No.
Oh, man.
Repair. What's been going on? Of course, you all know it's been a lot of rain. We would have had more repairs done. But to begin with, is Ms. Lopez?
I'm sorry?
Ms. Lopez, she was saying that we didn't have to have a permit to begin with because we were just doing a little outside work. But then a couple of weeks later, she was saying we had to have a permit. So we talked with a contractor, a licensed contractor, and he's supposed to be coming back before the week is out. But then I see rain for the next few days. So we will have it done. But what I need to know, what time frame can you give us for these repairs?
Yes, ma'am. Well, that will be up to the board. We're trying to gather information right now from you. And as the board goes into a deliberation, we will see what their response will be. So, but you're intending to rehabilitate the structure, is that correct?
Of course.
Okay.
That's my grandfather's land. And I think the letters have been going to my aunt's house, well, it's next door. We haven't gotten them. She had to sign for them.
Well, we send them to the tax, what the tax records show. So I'm going to call up Mr. McMillan to talk to us a little bit about that foundation, if you would, please. Any questions of the board? And I know it's public hearing. I will open. I mean, it's still open as a public hearing, but let's gather information while we can, shall we? Anything further that y'all like to tell us?
We have a permit. We were waiting on the weather to permit us to get extra work done.
Okay, all right. Mr. McMullen, any foundation-wise, structurally?
Without getting under the house, there's really no way to tell what there was.
Okay.
And at the time when I did the evaluation, there is brick that was leaning out that Ms. Perez showed in her picture. That may not actually be part of the foundation, it just may be a facade. But without being able to get under there to see it, there's really no way to tell on that aspect.
Okay, all right, thank you. I'm just going to, y'all understand what he just said?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why we had to get a licensed contract.
Okay, all right. Alderman Vaughn.
How much time do y'all need to?
Well, I thought maybe by the end of this month, hopefully if it rain, if it don't just rain like it's been raining, because that dirt, I mean, that yard, it just soaks up so fast, and most all the yards over there, on that, like my auntie's yard over 801, most of the, it rains so bad, other than that, I guess by the end of the month, first of the month.
We need a little longer time frame than that. That's my mother's house, and she's elderly, and we have to kind of take care of the business for her.
Yes.
So we do need a little bit more than.
Okay. Well, and we are still in the public hearing phase, but any other questions you want to ask them, Alderman Vaughn?
I mean, you say in a month. I don't think that'll work in a month. What if the board to give y'all 6 months? Will that work?
It'll be good in that much time. I know it should be good in that length of time.
All right, that'll be something for us to consider. All right, let me close this. Let me see if there's anyone else that wishes to speak to this particular item, and then we'll close it out as a public hearing. The board can take deliberation and take action. So if y'all will, unless there's something else you wish to share with the board at this point. Okay. All right. Let me see if there's anyone else. Anyone else wishing to speak either for or against this particular item on the agenda? Anyone else?
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right. All right. I will close it as a public hearing. Discussion from board members. Alderman Vaughn, do you wish to take a motion?
Yes, ma'am. I make that motion that we extended to 6 months for them.
Okay, so you would like to extend the 21-19-11 evaluation for 6 months?
Yes, ma'am.
And revisit this?
Yes, ma'am.
Revisit it, what will that be, Mark? August?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, first meeting in August?
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right, so I have a motion to revisit this particular matter.
I'll second.
Pick a month, 6 months, okay. March, April, May, June, July, August. You want to add?
in March.
We're in March,
April would be
okay,
the
well, I was
first month.
thinking March was a month, but okay. All right, we'll make it September, the first meeting in September. All right. And I have a second. All right, I have a motion from Alderman Vaughn and a second from Alderman Rupp. Any further discussion on that item? And that is to extend it to the first meeting in September. All right.
Right.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. It is unanimous. Thank you so much. All right, you have until September. Where did you go? There you are. You have until September. And in the meantime, our code will be there. From a permitting standpoint, our building examiner, our building inspector will be there. So hopefully that will all work out for you. Okay? All right, thank you. All right. Moving on to the next public hearing, we have public hearing consideration of Mississippi Code 21-19-11 for the structures at 202 McKinley Street. Are we sure this one's going to have the proper?
It should.
Okay, all right. Officer Pereira.
Okay, 202 McKinley Street, Starkville, Mississippi, 39759. 102B-00-036.00. Property owner is going to be Wilburn Yates. The first inspection was on January 6th. The property was in a complete overgrowth of the entire property, and the structure on the property is in disrepair.
And there's no one living there, correct?
No, ma'am. This structure that is on the property is only a shed, and the previous house was demolished.
And this was the site of a previous 21-19-11 action.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct. Okay.
So as you can see, there's still part of the foundation there, the bricks. There's some debris left behind from the demolition. That white thing right there is a tub. This is a first letter notice of violation to the property owner on January 10th. On January 25th, I did a second inspection. The property was still in the same state. The public hearing notices were posted on February 11th at City Hall and on the property. The third inspection was done on this day. The property was still in the same state. On February 13th, a certified letter was mailed to the property owner. I received the card back stating that they had received the letter. The owner listed Ethel Yates as the co-owner of that property. There was not a letter sent to Wilburn due to the fact that the property had been put through previously as overgrown property as a case in MyGov, and I had twice created that case and sent letters to the Wilburn Yates subject with no reply back from them. So I took the second owner that's listed on the tax rolls to send the letters to this time. She did give me a call after receiving that, saying that she would try and find a way to get the property into code. This is photos taken on the last inspection and the property was still in the same state.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions of Officer Perez before opening this public hearing?
When was the photographs taken?
Alderman Beatty.
I'm sorry?
When was the photographs taken? When was the last time?
These last photographs, they were taken on February 22nd.
Proper same condition, no change?
Yes, sir. From
Temps clean.
January 6th to February 22nd, the property had not changed. Yes, sir.
Anything further? All right, I'll open it as a public hearing. Now is the opportunity for anyone wishing to speak either for or against this item. If you would, please identify yourself, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Wilburn Logan, and Wilburn Yates is dead. That was my father. I want to appreciate Officer Perez first for being as informative and as helpful as she has been also before I got here. I have a story. As a matter of fact, I got a book that I can tell you why I haven't made it here till now. But that's not important. I'm here to ask you today to give me, say, 60 days to get the property back into code. And I think I can comply in that time because I'm just getting back here from Georgia. Matter of fact, I left here in the beginning of COVID. I ended up in the bubble in D.C. for 15 months. I'm a great-grandfather, and I'm following my kids now. And that's what I'm trying to do, is to get this back into compliance so that we can start doing some things with the property. Ethel Fisher, the young lady you talked to, that's my sister. She lives in Baton Rouge. She did inform me of the information that you had sent. But like I say, excuse me, everybody got a story. I could write you a book as to why I'm not here until now, but I'm here now. I got here Saturday. I spoke with Officer Perez on Monday.
Yes, sir.
Monday, and she informed me that I could come here and state the case of what I would need to do in order to buy the time that I need to clean the property up and get it back into code.
Okay, so Mr. Logan, you were asking for 60 days, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Anything else you'd like to share with the board?
No.
Okay.
I'm just, hopefully that I can get that with you.
Okay, all right, thank you, sir. Let me see if there's anyone else wishing to speak to this, and then we'll close it as a public hearing and let the board make that determination, okay? Anyone else wishing to speak on this matter, either for or against? Anyone else? All right, seeing none, I'll close it as a public hearing. Alderman Vaughn, this is I'm sorry, Vice Mayor Perkins, did you?
Yes, Mayor, I just want to make one brief comment about these properties, and we got a few more. I want to take this moment to commend Officer Perez for doing such a very outstanding job with this line of work, and she has been very consistent in her work. And what I want to say before I cast this upcoming vote, these properties are certainly within the definition of our statute to be declared a menace. I'm not against the individuals. In order for me to be consistent, I'm going to have to vote consistent. Normally when these matters come before the board, we have to look at the case-by-case factual situation. And the way I look at this, I just look at the evidence, and that's my role as a member of the bar, as an officer of the court. And I'm not speaking against anybody. But when I see all the evidence, how can I vote to give some time to clean this up? We have hundreds of cases that come before this board. Time and time again, we vote to declare these properties a menace in accordance with this particular statute. And again, Honorable Mayor, this is nothing personal, but when I look at all the evidence, I am charged with a duty that I am sworn to do to make a decision based on evidence. When I go in a court of law, the judge is going to consider the evidence, and I know that before I get there. And I can't be upset with the judge. I got to make sure I go there and present some good law, some good facts, and good evidence. Now, let me close with saying this, Mayor. I'm not trying to prolong this, but I got to say this respectfully. Mayor, this board gives or grants some time to this applicant and the next applicant, I'll do what this mayor wants to do and this board wants to do, but if time is granted, please do not come back and ask for an extension. Do not come back. Do not, from my perspective, I'm not speaking for the board, but if you do not expect me to vote for another extension, because I'm prepared tonight to declare this property as a menace. I mean, these structures gotta be declared a menace. They are not in a state where we need to be giving any time. And I'm just saying this respectfully. I'm just saying this. I'm fixing to yield. But if the board, if the board wants to do that, I'm going to go along with the will of the board. Just for this set of circumstance, but I'm very reluctant of wanting to grant any. I'm ready to put the hammer down, because this evidence does not compel or convince me to give 1 day extension. I mean, this property, we see the evidence, Mayor. I mean, I'm ready. I'm sorry for the time, but Mayor, we got to get the message out there that we're going to clean this city up regardless of who it is, regardless of where you live, and we just got to keep it clean. I mean, if my property is in that kind of state, yeah, the board needs to tell me, yeah, we're going to declare. I mean, they should. Mm-hmm. And my feelings not going to be hurt. That's why I keep mine up. Mm-hmm. And everybody should do it. We're going to keep this city clean, clean, and clean. Mayor, I yield.
Thank you, sir. Alderman Vaughn. You
Make a
can
motion,
feel
Mayor.
free to sit down. You're fine. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, sir.
Let's give him 90 days, 3 months instead of 60 days, and that way he won't have to come back. So I ask the board and you to, let's grant them 90 days to clean it up, please.
Okay, so I have a motion for a 90-day extension on the parcel located at 202 McKinley. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Alderman Beatty. All right, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, it is unanimous. The code enforcement officer will monitor that, and in 90 days, we will hope that you will have made that cleanup.
I
Thank
will,
you, sir.
and all I need to do is just get it done, and Officer Perez will contact me, or do I need to contact her, do I need to contact the officer?
Well, as soon as you get it done, it'd probably be nice to hear from you,
Okay.
but we'll also be checking.
Thank you.
All right.
And thank you,
Thank you,
Councilwoman.
sir.
I'm not against what you're saying, but thank you. And if I needed to bring a lawyer and a complete case, I would have done so. I was led to believe that I could come here and just state a case.
And it was fine, and you did, and you were
But now
successful in
I got a
90
case
days.
that I can present, evidence.
You're fine. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You have a good evening. Okay, next item is public hearing under 21-1911 for 203 McKinley.
Yes, ma'am. This is 203 McKinley Street, Starkville, Mississippi, 39759, 102B-00-037.00. The property owner is going to be Danielle Williams McGee. This is my first inspection on January 6th. The property is completely overgrown. The structure on the property is a small shed. It has no door on it to keep out critters or anything. It has some damage on the back and the sides from rot. And as you can see, that is a photo of the front part of the property, as well as the back part of the property is completely overgrown. This is a statement written by the neighbor, Ms. Teresa Bradford, complaining about the property causing rats and all different types of rodents and snakes coming onto her property. She's fearful of her children playing outside due to that overgrowth. On January 10th, I sent a first notice of violation to the property owner. And on January 25th, I re-inspected the property. It was in the same state, had not changed. Ms. Danielle has since contacted me regarding the property. She's stated that she was willing to get the property into compliance since I sent her that first notice of violation. I sent public hearing notice to her on February 11th. She contacted me again, stating that she was willing to get the property into compliance. The notice was posted on the property as well as mailed to the property owner. This is the third inspection on the 11th when I posted the notice on the property. The state of the property had not changed. On February 13th, I mailed the certified notice of that public hearing. And on February 14th, I received the card back showing that she had received it. On February 22nd, I made a final inspection of the property, and once again, it had not changed. Since I submitted, I did receive a phone call from Miss Danielle this morning, and she took photos of someone on the property of them having cut a little bit of the grass, and they had to stop due to the machinery sinking into the ground. But she has begun some work, and she is here to speak on it.
All right. Any questions of Officer Perez before I open this public hearing? None? Okay.
Thank you so much, Alderman. Thank you so much.
All right. I will open it as a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak either for or against? And now would be the opportunity. If you would identify yourself, please, ma'am.
I'm Danielle, the property owner. This is actually
What's your last name, Ms.
Williams McGee.
Williams, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm coming here today in reference to obtaining an extension, only because this was a project that I actually started working on when I purchased this from Judge Brian Kelly shortly some time ago. And I actually started working on this back in October, but I became the part-time caregiver for my grandmother who recently passed in December. So when I received the notice from Officer Perez, I had my son go out there with equipment that we could use to clear that actual property there. But since he's not as skilled with using heavy equipment, I wanted to get a professional, only because I wanted to make sure that there were no lines affecting any of the residents on either side, because I own part of the parcel on the side adjacent to Miss Bradford, and then the parcel right next to her. So I wanted to make sure that there were no lines that would be disrupted, so I reached out to a professional contractor to have them go ahead and work on clearing that out. And if you can take a look at some of the images that I was able to bring on my phone, they started clearing out part of the parcel at the very front. But if you go towards the back, where that railroad kind of tilts over, it causes moisture to set up in that back parcel, so it's hard to get back there unless it's dry. So.
Yes, ma'am. So how long have you owned the property?
I can't give you an exact date because I have several
of them. Exact 6 months, a year, 2 years?
I want to say it's been almost a year.
Okay. And were you planning on doing something?
I am.
With it?
I want to clear all of that off, and I want to clear the trees off, so that's one reason I'm getting a professional to go ahead and pull everything that's off that lot, including that. I think it was a storage shed or something that was there initially. So I want to clear all of that off so you can see straight across that railroad track behind Second Baptist. I believe that's the church.
Okay. And are you planning on doing that as you've seen, the two cases ahead of you asked for extensions with a specific timeline.
Yeah. He was actually supposed to be finished this weekend, and I talked to him on Sunday, but he was saying he wanted to let it dry up just a little bit more, and I don't want to be held responsible for his equipment if it's damaged and pulled in that marshland in the back.
What time are you asking for?
Honestly, hopefully he can have it done this weekend.
Well, let's just give you more than that.
Okay, well, that'll be just fine.
Well, that's up to the board, but I was just going to let you say what you would like to have.
I would like to have an extension for, let's make it a month. That way I know I'll have it done by then.
Okay, all right. So anything further you'd like to share with the board?
No, other than I reached out to Officer Perez to thank her for working with me on the issue I had earlier. So I did want to commend her for working with me on that. She could probably share some of that with Chancellor Clark.
Okay, thank you. I tell you what, if you will step away, I'll see if there's anyone else that wishes to speak on this, and then the board will go into deliberation.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Anyone else wishing to speak on this particular item? This is related to 203 McKinley. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, I will close this as a public hearing. Alderman Vaughn, this is again your ward. Yes, sir. Would you like to make a motion?
Yes, ma'am. May I make a motion that we give her 60 days and 30 days instead of 30 days? That way we'll be sure, because we still got rain coming in, and we'll be sure that it's clean.
All right, so your motion is to extend the 21-19-11 for 60 days?
60 days.
Okay, all right. So I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second from Alderman Rupp. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Ms. Williams, you have 60 days. Thank you. All right, yes, ma'am, you're welcome. We will monitor, and hopefully you'll be able to get that done. All right, last but not least, 212 West Gillespie for a 21-19-11 issue.
This is property at 212 Gillespie Street, Starkville, Mississippi, 39759, 102B-00-319.00. This is the property tax listing the owner as Cornelius Childs at 212 Gillespie Street. This is my first inspection on January 7th. The property is overgrown. There is debris left behind from the previous structure being demolished, and garbage, tires, and stuff dropped on the property. This is the first notice of violation, which was returned due to there not being a structure at that address. This was my second inspection. The property had not changed. This was on January 19th. It was still overgrown. The public hearing notices were posted at City Hall on February 11th, as well as on the property. And third inspection of the property shows no change to the state of the property. The public hearing notice was sent to the property owner listed, which was the property in question, on February 13th. These letters were returned due to there not being a structure. I did attempt to find Cornelius Childs. It showed in a site that I found to truepeople.com or truepeoplesearch.com that he was at a nursing home. I contacted the nursing home in attempts to contact him, and they said they had nobody by that name in their facility. On February 22nd, my final inspection of the property, it was in the same state. The house next door to this property does have a small child, and they did state to me, they did not write a statement, but they did say to me that they are fearful of their children playing outside due to the overgrowth of the property.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Officer Perez.
Yes,
Any
ma'am.
questions of Officer Perez before I open it as a public hearing? All right. Seeing none, I'll open it as a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to this item? This is the property located at, thank you so much, Chief, located at 212 West Gillespie. Anyone wishing to speak to this item, either for or against?
I just have a comment.
If you would come forward and identify yourself.
My name is Frank Nichols.
Thank you.
And I know about this property. Miss Cornelius is a female. She's no longer with us. She's passed. So I'm not sure who her relatives is, but what I'll do is, because my aunt lives directly across the street, and I own property next to that. So I would get my aunt to make contact with Officer Perez and see about locating whoever owns it now. But Miss Cornelius is dead.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Appreciate it. Okay. Alderman Vaughn.
That structure, we tore that structure down ourselves. We had torn that structure down. The house that we torn that down. The city torn that down. So I know Mrs. Childs is deceased. I know that. So I don't know any of her relatives. But
Well, Well, I would
But
suggest, I
meantime-
mean, it doesn't stop us from declaring it so that we can keep it up, and that's going to be the key. Even though there may be someone that we can find who might take responsibility, at this point, it's in our lap, so,
That's why we're going.
okay. Would you like to make a motion?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And the motion is to declare it as a menace?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so declaring the structure at the structure located at 212 West Gillespie, under Mississippi Code 21-1911 as a menace to the public health, safety, and welfare of the community. I have a motion from Alderman Vaughn. Do I have a second?
One thing, ma'am.
Alderman Vaughn.
Add to that we maintain it because we hadn't been maintaining it.
Well, and we have a process that we have to go back through as well. So we will go in accordance with state statute to do that maintenance, but it will then attach to a tax lien to that property. So, yes, sir. All right, I have a motion from Alderman Vaughn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Brooks? Okay, Alderman Brooks. Second from Alderman Brooks. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, it is unanimous, motion carries.
Can I say one comment?
Alderman Carver.
I'll say this to you, and what y'all said. I know this is probably one of the toughest jobs with the city, but your skill set is, you're good at this, and we do get, I know it's tough, but you have an ability to communicate with people effectively, and they understand that it's a fair process, and they understand the goals. So, we've heard that from a couple times tonight from some of the applicants and the people involved, but thank you for what you do.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Rupp?
I was going to say the same thing. I don't want the extensions to be viewed as a reflection of you not doing your job. I think you try to make these airtight, and I appreciate that.
All right, thank you, thank you. All right, next and last item on the agenda is going to be the claims docket. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion from Alderman Rupp. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Carver. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Motion carried by a vote of 5-2. If you will allow me to make a call for the work session, it will be held on March 17th at 11 o'clock in the second floor conference room. Public and press are invited to attend, and the notice will be posted within an hour of this meeting, and we will look forward to seeing you at that point in time, which will also be live on Facebook. Do I have a motion to recess?
So move.
I have a motion from Alderman Vaughn to recess. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Alderman Sister. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? We are in